morning, afternoon, or evening. Today we will be going over bolts. At the end of this video, you will be able to understand a bolt's nomenclature and its specifications. This will allow you to read and understand a bolt callout. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the standard and the metric system write their bolt callouts. Here is the formal designation of a standard size bolt. You have 1/4 inch, -20, UNC 2A by 1 inch. The 1/4 inch stands for the bolt diameter, or bolt size, or nominal diameter. This just means this is the ideal size of the bolt. For example, 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, 6 millimeter, 8 millimeter, etc. The bolt size is determined by what's called the thread diameter. Thread diameter is also known as the major diameter or outside diameter. This simply means the diameter of the bolt where the threads are. This diameter will always be smaller than the listed bolt size. There is a minimum and maximum value for the major diameter that corresponds with each bolt size, highlighted here in yellow on your bolt identification reference chart. We'll be going over this column in more detail later. The 20 is the thread count. Since we're in standard system, it's going to be threads per inch. Thread count refers to the thread pitch. In the standard system, thread pitch is defined as threads per inch. This simply means how many threads are located within 1 inch, shown here highlighted in yellow. The UNC stands for the thread series. UNC stands for Unified National Course, and there's also a UNF, which stands for Unified National Fine. This tells you that the thread count for that size bolt, if it's a coarse thread or if it's a fine thread. So in this case, this 1/4 inch -20 is a coarse thread for a 1/4 inch bolt. A fine thread count would be 28 threads per inch. The 2A is the class of fit and thread location. The 2 designates a commercial grade fit for the threads. And A designates that the threads are located externally, like on a bolt. The 1 inch designates the length, which is measured from the bottom of the head of the bolt to the end. Typically, you won't see a bolt written out in this formal fashion. You'll see it in this shorthand, written 1/4 inch -20 by 1 inch. That means that this bolt is a 1/4 20 and the length of it is 1 inch. Over here on the right hand side we have the metric system. Again, we have the bolt diameter, which is an M6 in this case. We have the thread pitch, which is 0.75. The thread pitch on the metric system differs from the threads per inch on the standard system, because on the standard system, threads per inch is just a definition of how many threads are located within 1 inch. But for the metric system, the thread pitch refers to the distance in between the tops of the threads. So a smaller number for thread pitch means that the threads are closer to each other, and a larger number for the thread pitch means that the threads are farther away from each other. A small number means a fine thread count, and a larger number means a more coarse thread count. The 5H next to that is the class of fit and thread location. A 5 lowercase h in the metric system stands for a commercial grade fit for the threads, and the lowercase h stands for that the threads are located externally, again, like on a bolt. This 30 right here represents the length of the bolt, and that's in millimeters. Again, typically you won't see a bolt written out in this formal fashion right here. You'll see it shorthand, and how you say that is an M6 by 0.75 by 30. Now that we know what types of information are on a bolt, let's just go over real quick how we're going to get this information. The bolt diameter will be determined by measuring the major diameter, again, which can also be called the thread diameter or the outside diameter of the bolt. This measurement will be taken with a scale or calipers and then compared to the minimum and maximum values found on your reference chart. This measurement can be equal to the minimum or maximum values or anywhere in between. Typically, your measurement will be closer to the minimum value. The next number over here, this thread count, threads per inch, or thread pitch, that is also on your reference chart. However, you will need to find that manually with a thread pitch gauge. The class of fit and thread location typically don't matter much to us here in the automotive field. We're always going to be working with a 2A or a 5 lowercase h, a 5 uppercase h, or a 2B. The length of a bolt can be measured using the depth portion of a caliper or a scale and is measured from the bottom of the head to the end of the bolt. There is one other specification that's typically not listed in this formal designation or the shorthand designation, and that is the grade of the bolt. The grade of the bolt refers to the tensile strength, and we'll go over that more in detail in a different module. On the left hand side over here, you see a bolt head with 3 dashes. This is the standard size bolt. The standard system uses dashes on the head to indicate the grade of the bolt. There are always 2 less dashes on the head of the bolt than the grade. So on this bolt we have 1, 2, 3 dashes. This would mean this is a grade 5 standard size bolt. Over here on the right hand side we have a metric system bolt. This one has numbers on the head and says 8.8. This refers to the grade of the bolt. This is a great way to, 1, find out the grade of the bolt, and 2, to determine what chart you're going to be using on the bolt identification reference chart to figure out what a bolt is. If a bolt has dashes on the head, you're going to the standard chart. If it has numbers on the head, you're going to go to the metric chart.